URC quarterfinal number 2, folks, and it's the Stormers. They get the job done over the Bulls, 33-21. Pretty convincing in the end. The Bulls get kind of a late consolation try to make the scoreboard look a little bit healthier, but the Stormers look to have got this game wrapped up relatively early. I mean, credit to the Bulls for at least coming back and giving them a decent run in the second half. But the Bulls will not be happy with their first half performance. It was pretty much all the Stormers. But yeah, we'll go to some key events and stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts. The turf there in Cape Town still doesn't look good. It didn't prove to be, I guess, too much of an issue, but it still looks pretty ugly. Surely there has to be some kind of relaying of turf at some point because, that stuff doesn't look the healthiest. But anyway, it was all the Stormers. Good crowd, pretty vocal, and the Stormers giving them something to cheer about early. I mean, Dion Fourie went pretty bloody close early. The Stormers will be a little bit frustrated with a couple of blown chances, but he dropped the ball over the line. Daimani did get one a little bit later on the 8th minute after the Stormers were able to get the ball wide. And Libok, as he did several times in this game, was able to kind of spark the attack initially with a good line break. Backs himself to take the ball to the line. So 7 points to nil with a good conversion to the Stormers early. And then the Stormers managed to get a three-pointer on top of that when they managed to win themselves a scrum penalty. So the Bulls unable to escape their own half, really. 10-0 down, 15 minutes in, away from home, and it's not looking too flash. They did get their first chance to get some points on the board on around 22 minutes, but Johan Klussen, he pushed his shot at goal wide, the commentator said, in the warm-ups, like Klussen was kicking everything, and maybe Libok not so much, but on the game day itself, it doesn't always work that way. So yeah, he missed that shot, which was unfortunate. Another Libok line break leads to David's going bloody close, but he gets put into touch. However, for Kyle Brink, he gets 10 minutes in the naughty boy chair for tackling Daimani off the ball. The commentators didn't like that on the feed I was watching, but man, like, you can't just tackle a dude without the ball when the team's got a potential scoring opportunity or at all. So, yellow card for Brink. And what can the Stormers do? Well, it looks like Dweber has powered over wee Ambrose Papier, but wouldn't you know it, man, Ambrose does not let him get the ball down over the line. So well done, Ambrose Papier, putting your body on the line against a much bigger human being than yourself. Crazy bit of defense, but it works. And then Zas knocks on as he goes close to the line as well. So the Bulls' defense, for all that Stormers' pressure, is holding until they don't. And it's sadly for the Bulls, it's their own lost line-out that leads to the Stormers' try. That one's on 33 minutes. I think it's Zas who gets the try, but it's Ori who gets the initial line-out steal, which leads to the Stormers being able to kind of hit them on the break. So, yeah, I guess you can credit that one partially to Ori, but good on Zas for finishing it off. So, yeah, 17 points to nil. It's not looking great for the Bulls. Can they get any points before halftime? Well, yes, they can, just to keep the game alive. Thankfully for the spectacle, for those of us... I didn't watch this game live. I should have mentioned at the start. I was on at 1:30 in the morning. I got up at like 6 something to watch it. I've been just watching the Leinster and Sharks game at halftime. Now that the sun has come up, I figure I can talk to you guys about this game. But Kyle Brink, after coming back on after his yellow card, he's able to finish off a nice maul try. And to be fair, is that their first chance in the Stormers 22? Like, to go in 17-7 down at halftime for the Bulls is actually not that bad. Because apart from a missed penalty, they've had bugger all going on in that first half. So, possession 60-40 Stormers. Run meters is 159-75. The Bulls have conceded almost double the penalty, 7-4. So, yeah, the Bulls haven't really been too far at the races, but 10 points down is not too bad in the scheme of things. Second half, though, Klussen goes off with a seemingly pretty bad head knock. They had to put him on the stretcher. Didn't look great. And then the Stormers extended their lead through a penalty. So 20 points to 7. And then 27-7 when the Stormers get the try through Davids. Just their hands to shift the ball wide. Absolute thing of beauty stuff. When the Stormers are on good form and they're not dropping the ball, they are one of the best teams to watch. It's probably why my son likes watching them. Probably because their names are Stormers, to be honest. He's still in bed. sun. It's like 9 o'clock now. You need to get out of bed. But yeah, 27-7. The commentators think the game's over. I'm thinking the game's over as well. The Stormers don't look like conceding that kind of lead. However, looks like the Bulls might be getting their game on when Aronsa sets up what's seemingly a little great try for Nokia, but the TMO rules, he's knocked it on over the line. So kind of just stifles that little bit of potential momentum for the Bulls, although they did get one not long later through Papia anyway. So not only does he save a try, but he gets one himself when the Bulls are applying a bunch of pressure. He essentially goes around the corner from the Stormers' defense, and yeah, 27-14 is looking a lot healthier. However, they did concede a penalty soon after. So just when it looks like they were getting back within touching distance, it's 30 points to 14. Yeah, it looked like there was a miracle try by the Stormers as well, but Willems's foot was on the line, sadly, but they did get a three-pointer anyway to make it 33-14. That was like with about 5 minutes to go, so the game's pretty much dead and buried. But as I said, the Stormers did get one last consolation one through Bismarck Duplessis. So 33-21 the scoreline finishes. Certainly a lot better from the Bulls in the second half. But I don't know, man, when you give a team a 17-point head start and you're not really looking at the races. I mean, admittedly, as I said, they did hold out the Stormers early. Like the Stormers could have had a couple more tries, if not for the Bulls' defense. So it's hard to be too harsh on them, but yeah, I'm sure they would like to get a bit closer than that. Possession finishes 52-48. Territory finishes 48-52. So you remember in the first half, it was all the Stormers quite handily. So the Bulls actually had the better of those stats for the second half. Clean breaks, those 9-5 to the Stormers. The turnovers won 12-4 to the Stormers. Penalties conceded 12-8 to the Bulls. Not a stat you want to be leading. Run meters 338, 254 to the Stormers. So the Stormers dominate all the areas you would expect from a team winning the game to dominate. Individuals, Roos, 5 defenders beaten, 4 turnovers, 1. Willems, the 5 defenders beaten. Marvin Ori, 15 tackles for the Bulls. Aronsa looked dangerous, 7 defenders beaten, a couple clean breaks. Grobbelaar makes 11 tackles. But yeah, as I said, I think the Bulls probably left themselves with a bit much to do. They gave it a decent crack in the second half, but the Stormers showed some class, and the Stormers will be home next week in their game against Connacht. Right, I need to catch up on the other URC quarterfinals, so I'm going to go finish off the Leinster Sharks game, which I have been watching, which I feel like I can tell early on which way it's going to go, but I haven't finished it yet. And then I'll have to catch up on Glasgow and Munster. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts on the Stormers and the Bulls. How far do you reckon the Stormers can go? Will they make themselves another final? But they've still got a semi-final to get through first. But anyway, the job against the Bulls is done. You guys let us know your thoughts, and talk to you again soon. See you later.